Yeah, we're ready.
Good evening. Let's bring the meeting to order. We'll begin with the moment of silence, then the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is something I've never done before. Mr. Aska. Thank you. It's been really good working with you. On behalf of the city, get to keep signing papers.
Well, this will probably be my last chance to be able to say a few things, and so since I really don't want to leave, I'm going to take about an hour and a half to say a few things. I did just want to say just a few things. 4 years ago when I ran for commission, I think we all know things were kind of chaotic in Junction City. We were uncovering a lot of things in terms of the indebtedness that our community had. And, you know, I'm a person that usually like to just kind of sit back and collect my thoughts and then make some on-the-line comments. But, you know, at some point I felt like, and also from encouragement from others, that, you know, maybe some of my experience, particularly with the court system, might come invaluable of trying to help my community out. So I ran and fortunate enough to get elected. You know, one of the things, and I just want to talk just a little bit about the past, because it's one of the things that we here in Junction City don't need to do is continue to dwell on the past. You know, we had a rough history, but we are moving forward in a very positive direction. And you know, Jerry Vernon, when he was hired as city manager, kind of set the stage for us. And I know I had several conversations with him, and that also helped me to kind of want to run, because I felt like this guy has a plan for our city to help it move forward, and he needed some support. And so that was one of the reasons I went on there. And Jerry set the stage for Junction City to move forward. He then also hired a couple of key personnel, which also had a vision and understood rather quickly what the state of our community was in, and helped to kind of put together that plan together. And one of the things I always joke about is that, you know, once I started to run, then I said to myself, holy crap, what are you doing? Because I'm like, to me, it would have been just me with my vision of what I think needed to happen in Junction City. But then I was very fortunate that Jim Sands and Pat Landis, when I got to know those gentlemen, had some conversations with them, and I felt good about them being on the commission, that from with their experiences and things, and that it wouldn't just be a battle going on by myself. Because like I say, I was brand new to the whole political thing that was going on. But, you know, one of the things I hope that I did bring to the commission was, because I'm kind of a laid-back guy most of the time, and I hope what I brought was a little stability and some calmness, and that, you know, let's just kind of look at things. Let's take it easy. Let's evaluate, figure out what direction we want to go, and move. But it also helps to have good people that you can bounce things off of and things. And I think just due to a little bit of my personality at the time, and talking to a lot of people, and just kind of listening and trying to get a feel for what was going on, and how that we could all work together to move things. Because, you know, the first 2 years appeared to be the roughest, but in actuality they weren't, because it's just some decisions needed to be made. You know, one thing about statistics and numbers and facts, they are what they are. And so for me, and from what had been used to doing for 35 years, I look at that information, and to me the path is clear. This is what we got to do. It's whether you can do it or not. And luckily, even through all the turmoil, we were able to do that, adopt a lot of what Mr. Vernon and city staff thought needed to be done to move us in a positive direction, which we're going now. So enough on the past. Let's talk about the future. I think regionalism is very important because what is good for Junction City is also good for Manhattan, Wamego, Clay Center, and everybody in the Flint Hills region. And I think in these last 4 years, what I have seen with all the communities starting to talk to each other instead of about each other, understanding the positives that each community has. I heard somebody once to me say, well, we don't want to be like Manhattan. I agree. But Manhattan's not a bad role model to look at because you can take the good out of anything and adopt it to make you better. There are things that we do in this community in the way that we approach problems and issues that Manhattan and the other communities would love to have the attitude that our people have. I mean, when you think about the indebtedness and the decisions that we made to get us where we're at today, and this community sucked it up and did what it needed to do with very little complaining. I mean, people understood this is where we're at, and if we're going to survive, yes, I've got to do this. The other communities, they would have probably been ready to lynch half the commission. But we have a great citizens here in this community. I feel good about the future. I feel good about the commissioners that I have worked with. I feel good about Mrs. Fitzgerald coming on to this commission. I feel good about this group being able to have some good, honest dialogue, that you haven't differencing backgrounds and things, and that it's just not, because I live over here, so that's all they listen to. But I feel like the backgrounds and the makeup of your sitting body in this community will always have everybody's best interest at heart. The only bit of wisdom that I will leave to this commission and the new commission is that the people trust you to make the right decision. And sometimes, I know I had to do it, that there are things personally I don't like, but you got to be able to set that aside and think about what's best for this entire community, and then that's the way to go. And sometimes let your heart guide you as opposed to, as I say, the yapping dogs, what they're trying to tell you. Because, in your heart, you know what you need to do. And let that guide you. And, like I said, someone said that to me, because I think I initially was making this job a whole lot harder than what it needed to be. And they just kind of go, well, Cecil, we trust you to make the right decision. You know how you were raised. You know what your mother would expect of you. And so, even to this day, I'm afraid she might pull that switch out on me. So I always have to make the right decision. You guys are going to, the first 2 years, like I say, to me, was not that hard. It was the second 2 years after we understood what our problems were, we understood what we needed to do, we made those decisions. But, as you move forward and the economic times that we're in, there are still tough decisions that need to be made. Junction City is not the only community that has let its infrastructure go. We probably have it double bad just because of our indebtedness, and so we have a smaller pool of money to make things happen. I think we can do the things that we need to do, but we just need to be patient and make sure we look at everything, ask the right questions. I personally think that the sewer, storm sewer water plan that we will be dealing with, does it need to be done? Yes. Does it all need to be done in the next 10 years? I question that. But because I think there are parts of that plan that definitely need to be immediately dealt with. Other parts of it I think can be drug out over a period of time. You guys just need to really look at that, and I trust that you will be making the right decisions. Because we all know, nobody wants to raise taxes, but unfortunately, that may be a path you have to go down to at some point. But I really believe that we can do that with basically maintaining the mill where it is. Unfortunately, we don't have control over what other entities do, but at least ways here, I feel that you guys, that if at some point that is necessary, that it will be something that will be well thought out, and it just isn't the quick answer to generate X amount of dollars. With all that being said, because like in that Progresso soup commercial, I will be watching you. The bad thing about when you become involved, I'm like so many of us. I worked at my job. You come home, you have dinner, you fall asleep in front of the TV, and you pick up the paper, you hear a few things, but you have your opinion, but you don't really share it. But then when you get involved, and I see where we're going, we can't go backwards. And so I know I will be there to any time to give you my perspective on things, give you my perspective from the folks that I deal with and where they're coming from on some stuff. And I guess I just want to send the message is that I trust you and I trust the new city and commission to do what is going to be in the best interest of Junction City. Now to wrap it up, I just wanted to say a few thank yous. One, I wanted to thank the city staff. You have a great city staff. Those folks are hardworking and dedicated, and it has amazed me of how they have used duct tape to keep things together and rolling the way that they have without a lot of noise and complaining. And so my hats is off to all city staff, and I appreciate your loyalty and dedication. And I appreciate the feedback that I have got when I've asked, talk with them about different issues. I always felt that they were always open and honest with me about the realities of things. I also want to thank those people that initially encouraged me to run for public office. And I want to thank the citizens that voted for me and that supported me. And as some have said, they didn't sometimes agree with my vote, but they were very supportive. And so I want to thank those folks for allowing me this opportunity. And last thing, Pat and Jim, I appreciate, like I said, you guys running and being there. I appreciate Mick and Mike, your ability to communicate and for us to have a dialogue and your friendship.
Thank you.
With that, see y'all.
Sun must be setting.
Next order of business will be oath of office for the incoming commissioners. Phyllis, do you want to? Yes, please come up, and Jim and Pat,
Come out there,
you all get to swear.
Make them all stand out there.
Sure.
That way they're equal.
Commissioners, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Kansas and faithfully discharge the duties of City Commissioner. So help me God. Thank you. We're not used to having purses up here.
I know.
Cecil didn't carry his. Next order of business will be election of the mayor for 2015.
First off, I'd like to say, Mayor, you've done a great job, and I'm very proud of you stepping forward and stepping into an arena it's like a wild pack sometimes. It's not all jello and games and candy. You've done a great job. You've had a great vice mayor. And with that, I think the vice mayor should be in the progression to proceed to be the mayor, because he's been right there, he's been your right hand. And I nominate Mick McAllister to be the next the next mayor for the city of Junction City.
Thank you, Commissioner Sands,
You're welcome.
on several counts.
Those conjunctive things are just,
So that would have been first call for nomination. This would be second call for nomination. Third call for nomination. Nominations will cease. So call for a vote. For McAllister for mayor for 2015. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Oh, congratulations.
So, we're gonna have to switch our stuff around.
Well, if you had a purse.
There's a reason.
I don't think I could carry that purse.
Don't worry, I can't either. It's pretty heavy.
This here.
Have that.
Okay. Okay. Because I've never done this before. I'll be looking for a lot of help as well. I too would like to thank Mike Ryan for the work that he's done over the course of the last year. He's been a very good representative for the city of Junction City. He's been very active. I'm going to look for his guidance and his mentorship through this next year, and I appreciate everything that Mike has done. And so the next order of business would be the election of vice mayor.
I would nominate Commissioner Jim Sands.
I'd accept that nomination.
Is there a second nomination? Hearing none, is there a third nomination? Hearing none. All those in favor of Jim Sands for Vice Mayor, Junction City, 2015, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Congratulations. We should have just stayed standing.
Life's tough.
All right, here we go again.
Didn't even hear any music.
I'll give you this one.
Did the music stop yet? Oh, okay.
I know.
Oh, I better take my cup.
Yeah, I'll need that space.
Did you want to
Don't
take a
forget those.
picture of,
Yes.
I guess I better have my cup.
Guess what? Congratulations.
No hug?
Tyler. You have one, Phyllis?
Hugs will come later.
You have Phyllis, yeah, okay.
Could be Cecil tonight.
Okay, did you have a list, Mike? Were you given a list, public comment?
Not yet. I'll get it.
I could have handed that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, the next order of business would be public comment. The commission requests that comments be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per person. And the list we have, the first person on the list is Dunham. Mr. Dunham.
Congratulations, guys and girls. I want to congratulate Mr. McCafferty and his department and his workers. About a week ago, I turned in a couple potholes. One was on West Grand Avenue. They were not very big, small. And one on 16th and Monroe. If you dodge the manholes, you hit it. So I would like to congratulate him and his crew for getting those done within a week. So, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And Mr. David Eckel.
Once again, Run for the Wall is coming up. I'm the point of contact for that for the city. It's been a success for the last 5 years that I've been the coordinator of it. We bring roughly 350 motorcycles into the community for an overnight stay. We'll provide dinner for the riders at no cost to the riders. The next morning, we'll provide breakfast to the riders at no cost to the riders. All this is with donated money and money that was raised on the side. I'd like to invite the commissioners and the mayor. Mrs. Fitzgerald will be our MC for the event. So it'll be a good opportunity to come out and see a bunch of motorcycles. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you. Very worthwhile cause. There are no other requests for public comment, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions? I know that several questions have been sent from the commissioners for clarification, and they were answered.
Yeah, I apologize that they came out of the form they did, but things really went wild around here today. So got all the question answered. And again, when you send questions to me, I answer to all the group. That way you can see what the questions are, and feel free to. And of course, as you see, I assign questions to different staff members because they dealt with it closer, and that way we can get you a better answer. But anytime, feel free to send questions to myself or Cheryl, and we'll sure get them answered best we can.
I appreciate the quickness, and I know some of them came in kind of late, and sometimes that doesn't give you time enough to give those clarification, but it really worked out well. Appreciate those. And for the public, there was questions and clarifications, and what the commissioners do is when they go over the consent agenda and they see something that raises a question or may raise a question in the community, we bring those questions to staff, and then staff clarifies whether the question was a quantity or just a clarification of a program or a piece of equipment. And those questions are dealt with prior to this meeting. We discuss those, and through our email, we get those questions answered back. So thank you for that.
A lot of times it's maybe a term. I know we had one about a term of a cart lifter, and it's like, what's that? Or signals for a signal light, and staff understands what a green signal is and a red arrow is. It's like when you see them in there, and unfortunately, what you receive and the public has is sometimes we're allowed 8 words, and you really could use 25 words. But again, ask anytime you wish.
Well, I would suggest that if Commissioner Sands has a question, if you answer him in acronyms, he'll understand quickly. He talks in a foreign language.
It's called military.
Yes.
But that slide, I was thinking, how do we pay that much money for a slide? And I was thinking PowerPoint, but it was actually a slide, playground. $1,400 for a PowerPoint presentation. I got the tab. But it makes sense that if it's a 2,000 It's been there 15 years. It probably needed replacing before that, but yeah, thanks for the slide and the cart tipper.
Any other move to approve the consent agenda as described?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any further discussion? All those opposed, same sign? Now is there any further discussion?
Discussion comes before the vote.
Okay.
It's all right, it's your first night, we'll give you a little break. Okay.
You're going to have to bear with me. We may change the rules before the night's over. So we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as approved. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved,
5-0.
5-0. Now we have a special presentation, proclamation for Arbor Day.
Yes, Mayor, actually, I have a proclamation for you to read. We don't have it filled in here fully with your name yet, but
Okay,
it's one of your official duties. We've got a couple of them this evening.
okay.
Before you get reading this, I just wanted to point out to the audience that Junction City is one of a handful of communities throughout the United States that is the designation is a Tree City USA designation for the 39th consecutive year. Ray Ibarra, who is our Director of Public Works, has been chairing and very instrumental in making sure that this tradition continues in Junction City, as well as overseeing our tree and forestry board, as well as our woodland ordinance, as well as our tree poster program that he diligently goes through the elementary schools. I'm going to have Ray say a few words, and then Mayor, I'd like you to read the proclamation, please. So.
As Greg McCaffrey, the Municipal Service Director, has said, Junction City is celebrating its 39th straight consecutive year as Tree City USA, designated by the Arbor City Foundation. And we are one of 16 communities in the whole United States that has that designation, being that consecutive. We're also celebrating Arbor Day, which will be this Friday. We're setting up the presentation for Spring Valley Elementary School. We have a Arbor Day poster contest that we do, and the young person, I believe is Avery Jacobson from Spring Valley, won just the local contest. So we will do a celebration there in Spring Valley School on Friday. We're trying to set that up right now. So.
Okay. Read this on behalf of Ray. City of Junction City Arbor Day Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic viability of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas Junction City has been recognized as Tree City USA for the 38th year by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting ways. Now therefore I, Mick McAllister, Mayor of the City of Junction City, Geary County, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2015 as the 143rd anniversary celebration of Arbor Day. In the City of Junction City, I urge all citizens to support efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and to support our city's community forestry program. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations. Given under my hand and seal of the City of Junction City, State of Kansas, this 21st day of April, 2015.
Thank you, Mayor.
I have another one here for you, so don't go away.
This one is the.
The next special presentation will be the proclamation for the National Drinking Water Week in the City of Junction City, May 3 through 9, 2015. Not sure what 12/18 is.
Correct. Mayor and City Commission, we actually started to recognize National Drinking Water Week a few years back when we established what I'd like to term a stronger working relationship with Viola Water, and now in particular our own Public Works, who handles the water distribution operation portion, which again is overseen by Ray Ibarra. This year, as in last year, we will have an open house over at the water treatment plant. It's going to jointly be sponsored by Viola Water as well as the City of Junction City. And Armor Eckridge has graciously donated the sausages and hot dogs that Carrie Peterson's crew will be grilling. So that means that there is a free lunch available to those members of the public that would like to have free tours of the city's water plant, as well as receive additional information regarding the city's water system. That open house and luncheon is May 6th, that's Wednesday, and it will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the open house will be held again at the water treatment plant, and that is at 2101 North Jackson Street. It's the facility that is located as you go out on K57, directly across from the airport. And with that, Mayor, we do have a proclamation that we appreciate that you would read. Okay.
City of Junction City Proclamation Drinking Water Week. Whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support of our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, and whereas any measure of successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to the access of safe water. And whereas we all are stewards of the water infrastructure upon which future generations depend, and whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our source water from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved in local water issues by getting to know their water. Now therefore I, Mick McAllister, Mayor of the City of Junction City, do hereby proclaim the week of May 3 through 9, 2015, National Drinking Water Week in the City of Junction City, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public drinking water, and to recognize the contributions which our staff and officials make every day in bringing and providing us safe, quality drinking water. Given under my hand and seal of Junction City, State of Kansas, this 21st day of April, 2015. Carrie?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Greg, do you have any more stuff I can read?
No, I don't.
I just
just don't like the way he looked at me when he said free lunch.
Well. The sign flashed Jim and a free lunch again. Okay. New business. First on the new business will be appointment of commissioners to city boards. I have a list.
It's page 60 of the packet is a list of the various boards. Thank you.
And, okay. So on the Convention and Visitors Bureau that currently meets Monday, or monthly, on the third Tuesday at 12 noon,
I'm currently on that one.
I think Jim and Phyllis, could you do that? Okay. Jim and Phyllis on the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Two people?
Well,
One will have to be the main chair, and the other one would have to fill in if the first one couldn't be there.
and several of these, I should explain that, several of these have multiple people on it so that they can be involved and be able to cover down if somebody can't make it. Because those times, sometimes the times are inconvenient. On the animal shelter, that meets monthly on the second Wednesday at 3, I believe, Mr. Ryan?
I'm on it, and I'll continue.
Okay. On the military affairs, I am currently serving on that board, and I will continue unless someone else takes it from me. I'm also on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and we are currently in the middle of a search for CEO. I am on the CEO search committee, and I would just as soon continue that, if that's okay? Okay?
Yep.
Do you want alternates for these positions also? Or just a first?
Well, there's some others on here, and if I do need some help, I'll reach out. The Economic Development Advisory Committee, that meets the second Thursday of every month at 8:30. Commissioner Ryan still is on that committee?
Yes, I'm currently on it. I'd continue.
Okay. And I would ask if Jim could,
I'll be the backup.
okay.
Thank you.
The Library Board, that meets on the second Monday at 5:30. Currently, Commissioner Landis
I'll take it.
will continue. Excellent. On the Flint Hills Regional Council, the Metropolitan Planning Organization and the Flint Hills Regional Transit Authority. Mike has, Commissioner Ryan has been on that. Do you continue to?
Yes, I'd like to continue. And actually, the MPO and FERDA meet on the third Wednesday of each month at 3:30, and then the Flint Hills Regional Council meets the third Friday.
Okay.
And I'd continue on both of those. I've been appointed to nomination committee for the Flint Hills Regional Council.
Okay. Commissioner Sands, could you back up?
I'd be happy to back up.
And I will be willing to go with you on those days as well to cover.
It's a very good thing for several of us to attend. Commissioner Aska was on the council, and I attended with him probably half the time last year. And to see all the different cities and counties working together is pretty phenomenal. And the listening session that we had here for Fort Riley, there's no way that could have come together without the background of everybody working together in the region, learning how to sit down and work together and talk about things together instead of just talking about each other. It's very important to our community.
Okay, great. The Land Bank, Commissioner Landis currently sits on that board, that committee?
Yes,
You will continue to do that?
absolutely.
Okay, great. And we have the Housing Board that Ms. Fitzgerald is on now. Would you continue to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And you've got a pretty light plate here, but as time goes on and we find out how much time you're available, we may be,
Don't tell them.
we may call on you to
Help.
help.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Actually, Mike's got quite a few. The animal shelter would be a good start.
It depends on the time.
Working,
Yeah.
oh,
We need to figure out schedules because of some people work all day.
what? That W word on me?
That W word?
Mayor, on behalf, I'm just speaking here with Commissioner Fitzgerald. You know, if you want to learn about any of the committees and you have a day off or you can get a free, I can just contact one of them and, you know, there's not an issue with showing up and
you're
learning
welcome
the
to go.
process as we go that. So be it library board or be it the other one. So I think that's
Bring food.
important. And as you move on to your subsequent years, you can, you'll have at least some more knowledge and understanding.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And the press is at most of these meetings, so we meet the open meetings regulations. You know, if there's 3 or more of us at that meeting, it's still okay because the press is there. So we're not violating any Open Meeting Act laws.
Okay? Do I need a motion for those appointments?
No, those are mayor appointments.
Okay.
You're the boss.
Okay, next item for new business is the commission to appoint official newspaper, city newspaper. And that as well as a mayoral appointment?
Then that's a motion of the board. And
Okay. What is the will of the commission?
I would move that we appoint the Daily Union to be our official newspaper.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
none here.
All those in favor of the official city newspaper being the Daily Union, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Unanimous, ayes have it. Next item of business will be the consideration and approval to solicit bids for the demolition of property at 119 East 11th, being a condemned structure.
Mayor, Commissioners, we're here to discuss the property at 119 East 11th. The owner is here tonight. As you will remember, and Ms. Fitzgerald wasn't on the commission then, you granted 120 days 4 months ago to get it dried in. And these are current pictures. They've got all the OSB on, the roof is mostly on, but it is not totally closed in. But if you have questions for the owner, she is here tonight, and the only reason that we brought it up to solicit bids, now you can disapprove that, or you can approve that and we can solicit bids, or you can grant her more time, but that was, the deal was to get it dried in. Of course, we had some cold weather at the start of the first 60 days, it probably was cold enough, but since we've had some time to work on it, and she would have to explain to you. As you can see, there's new vinyl siding clear up to the top of the door. It's all dried in now. The windows are all in it. It doesn't have the house wrap or anything on it, apparently from the picture. But that was one thing I was hoping would get on there too, to keep it from getting damaged any further. But
Are these current?
yes, today.
Okay.
And she is here if you have questions for her.
Is there, okay.
I'd like to know what the plan is. It seems like we still have a structure that is in very bad condition. Although being dried in does help a little bit. I'd like to hear a little bit about the plan
And
going forward.
I would also, and let me remind you too, that this is the 8-month mark, so.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time out to hear me out and hear what I have to say. I was granted a certain amount of time, but in the meeting, they said that they would give and take because of the weather condition. We cannot work in the weather condition, but we did work on the inside as not doing it on the outside because the inside is as important as the outside. So during the cold weather, we worked on the inside and did a lot of, I don't remember what they call it, but to strengthen the roof and all that stuff and change out a lot of things. And so now that it's warm, I was just trying to see if you could grant me, and after you grant me this time, if you're not up to expectations with whatever you granted me, then you can go forward and do whatever you want to do. But on this weekend coming up, as you can see, we started to put the sidings on, and then they're gonna, trying to get as much people as I can to help to do the covering on the outside this weekend. So on this weekend here, we'll be doing the covering of the outside and then put up more sidings. And I'm trying to get it together as fast as I can because I know it's a commercial area and I know that having the building like that makes the property value goes down and all that stuff. But then again, because of all this bad weather, one day it's hot, the next day it's cold, the next day it's windy, it's kind of hard to do work in this kind of weather. So now that summer is coming in, you know, we plan on doing as much as we can and try to get it done as fast as we can.
It's taken 8 months to get to this point. Is that right?
Well,
You've had 8 months? and this is-
well, at first, it was like a money issue because I try to get a lot of help, and it's only family and myself that is doing it, but we're trying to do the best we can, the best we know how, because that's my home, and right now where I'm living, it's not even really suitable to me, but then I don't have any other choice, so I'm trying to get this as fast as I can done. So now, I have to be taking care of where I'm staying at and plus trying to do this. But at the same time, my son does remodeling and he works for a construction company and he's the one that does most of the work and my other sons, and then we get people to come in and help. So I would really, please, if I could get a little more time.
Do you have
And
the-
I
do you have the
promise you-
funds to complete the project? I guess that's my question.
Well, not all of
An
it.
issue
We
for 8
have,
months
we
is still
have,
an issue.
well, at 8 months, you know, you have to pay for dumpster. You have to pay for all different kind of stuff to get the property clean, get all the debris out, and get everything up to date with the city, because they was on me for the debris on the ground and all that stuff. And it's $270 for a dumpster.
Right.
And each time they come, you have to pay them $270. So we try to get all that out the way. And at least you can see the property is clean. I plant flowers, I do all different kind of stuff. I try to trim the trees and stuff like that. So now we're working on the outside to get that finished, and then we get on the inside and finish the inside. So if you just please again, give me a little bit more time, and then after that time, if it's not up to your standard, then, you know.
I think
I don't have any other home, this is my home.
I think I have to come back to the same question that Commissioner Landis asked. Are there funds available? I mean, do you
Yeah,
have the
we
funds
have
now
funds to
complete
cover
this?
the outside, and then I'm trying to work on some more funds for the inside. But as long as I get the outside, to your standards and all that stuff, then I go ahead on the inside. So no, that's what we're looking at right now for the outside mainly.
I just have a question, not a question, a point. And the next slide's gonna pop up, and you've been working inside, that slide there, and then the next slide, there's no roof. So any work you've been doing inside, a good part of the structure has no roof, no siding, and there's nothing done on the inside. Those pictures were taken
Go
today.
back again. Let me explain.
And if you're doing work, it's counterproductive because with all
No,
the
that's
rain.
not how that is. It's covered. All the roof is covered. I don't know, that picture that just came before, the roof is fully covered. It's and one side is fully shingled. It's the other side. So see where it's at right there? It's covered.
The roof is totally on, the decking is on, felt's on.
Yes.
All the shingles are on. This other picture you're seeing is
It's a it's a
from
whip.
the thumb drive of the previous picture.
Of before?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all, it's all closed in,
Yes.
but it's not dried in. The windows are all in, but
Excuse me a second.
the top half up here, none of this is dried in at the top.
Sarah put the old photos in there as well. So now,
That's what's throwing us.
now these are all the new pictures that were taken today. Oh, okay.
If I was sharp enough to figure out that iPad, it would have the date on it.
He wants to see.
Better men than you haven't been able to figure that out.
Take pictures with it, though.
Do you have Cecil's?
Oh, no.
I confiscated it.
This represents today's pictures.
Oh, that makes a difference.
So it's all covered, the roof.
The wood and the deteriorated things from the fire on the outside are there, but you're, like Commissioner Sands said, you're being counterproductive when you don't do the roof, the outside first to protect anything you might do on the inside.
Right.
You have to seal it in. Otherwise, everything you do inside can be
It's,
wasted.
yes, I understand.
Whether it's cold or dry or hot or whatever, the first thing is seal it.
And if I'm not mistaken, 4 months ago when we discussed this, that was the stipulation, was to get the outside. So if time is granted, there
And-
should be a strong emphasis on everything on the outside. Don't concentrate on the inside. We're talking about the exterior of the structure.
Okay.
We've had some great weather. We've had some hot weather.
We didn't have too much hot weather. It was one day hot, the next day cold, one day windy, next day snow. It was
Here's what I
just-
have to say.
Yeah.
What you have here is a structure that, it's your home, but right now with all the time that we've allotted you, which includes the summer, we had the entire summer, and maybe you're saying then that the finances weren't there. But for 8 months, your neighbors have had to live with this
Nice.
this place and the appearance that it's in, and they care about their place, and they also want someone that's going to be there that's going to care about theirs.
Right.
In 8 months, and I know we've had about 30 good days because everybody's
Okay,
cutting grass,
can I-
and grass is growing. Let me finish. I can't see 120 days. What I would see if there was anything that was done, it would be 30 days. And here's the thing, if you don't jump on it, we're going to jump on it, and everything that you put into it is going to go away. So it's not a game. This thing here has to be done. And if you can't do it, you need to say so, because before we say we're going to give you any allocation, there will not be 120.
Okay.
If there's anything on my side, if I granted anything, I would say 30 days, and you'd have to show me something majorly done. Would you be able to do that?
Yes. What I was trying to say was, at first, I didn't know I had a time limit. The only time limit I knew about is when I came here and you gave me those days. No one explained to me that after the house got burnt, it had to be just like that. So I didn't know anything. So I wasn't being as swift as I was supposed to be or do what I was supposed to be. When I knew it was serious is when I came to the meeting here the first time. And when you gave me that time frame, which was in winter. So if I had known then what I know now, maybe it would even be like this. But I didn't know nothing about when a house get burned down, it has to be prompt or you have to do like this or whatever. I didn't know anything. So it's kind of new to me because when I came here, when they say I had to go to a meeting for the house, I said, meeting for what? You know, nobody explained to me that, well, your house burned, you have to get it done this time, you have to hurry up and do this, you have to hurry up and do that. So I was taking my time trying to get the house clean, trying to get everything this way, that way, when maybe if I had known what I know now, it wouldn't be like this.
Let me make
So-
this part perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. Don't work on the yard. Don't work on the landscaping. Don't work on the inside. if we have to be perfectly clear, we would say seal that house and seal it as quick as you possibly can. And that's only me speaking. The other 4 commissioners still have a vote on this. If you can't show us stuff done, you better get everything out of there that's worth something, because we won't extend it. We will not. And I want to make sure that's perfectly understood. There is no more time. You have to go to work and get that up to standard, and in a very short amount of time. And I want to make sure you understand that, because you said last time you
Okay,
didn't.
so in a very short amount of time, what are you expecting for it to be covered?
All covered, sealed in, and if you're going to put siding on it in 30 days, with this weather that we have, there's no problem getting that done, and unless it's financially or trying to find people that can do that. I can't see extending this 120 days, because we move on stuff like this to get it gone. And if there's stuff that's been done to a satisfactory standard, I would say, yes, we'll go ahead and continue with this. But at what we see here for 120 days, it's not there. It's not deserving of 120 days. And that's just Commissioner Sands talking.
Commissioners, if I might interject, like my past experiences, I would recommend that on any structure that's so-called unsafe or dangerous, and this fits those parameters, unfit for human use or habitation, which at this point it is I think you need, as a commission, my recommendation is you need to expect a finished product, making it a safe structure, a structure that's fit for human use or habitation. I would, again, it's my recommendation, you don't set benchmarks and say, in 30 days you get this done, in 60 days you get this done. In other words, my recommendation would be set a benchmark and say, it has to get here to this point. And of course, there's always weather days and all those other things, but because sometimes it becomes beauty in the eye of the beholder, and you know, the recommendations of this, and I'm assuming there's no insurance proceeds on this.
No, sir.
Okay, so it's again protecting the neighborhood and the rights of the neighboring people as well. So, and again, and my concern is when you start do this in 30 days and this in 30 days, all of a sudden we get out to a year. And then again, you have the rights of the neighbors and the adjacent property owners as well to think about. Again, that's just thoughts from my past experiences.
I might also add that as long as I've been in the code department, building and code department, no condemnation project has gone outside of a year. So that is also something to take into consideration too. And what we're asking is that we at least get the exterior presentable to get completely dried in, where we don't have any more deterioration of what we have now.
Excuse me, if I'm on to add.
Would you please go to the microphone, please?
Shut up.
If I don't mind to add, I help. I help at work on this house every chance I get. Not only me, all her sons, her daughters, her sister, and her daughter-in-laws. We all help. We all do everything we can. We put sidings on. I'm scared of heights. I get on a roof to help. I do as much as I can. I work at Foot Locker. My wife works at Foot Locker. Her sons, they work. You know what I'm saying? We all work. We all put as much effort as we can. That's all I'm asking. They love this house to death. They do everything they can. I help. I put my finances in this house as much as they do. Everybody puts everything we got into this house. They want this house. They have so many memories in this house. They do a lot. They came from a lot with just this house and the house next door. All she asks is some time. I understand, you know what I'm saying, it's just the side of it, it's a burden. I understand what y'all are saying. But just think about, you know what I'm saying, everybody that works, all the money that people put in, I bust my behind every day to help get that extra money to help pay the bills of where we stay now, and also help so she'll have equipment to go up there and fix it, the nails, wood, siding, anything that needs to be done.
And my son, his boss, the man that he works with, he gives him all his tools. And he said he'll help with because he's licensed electrician, and he's a licensed, he does all this construction and everything. And so he give my son all the saws, everything, to bring it to my house to work on it. He says if we need anything at all, just ask him, and he'll grant him all the tools, whatever he needs. He give him the stud gun that you put the nails in and everything.
Yeah, we use it to
there's studs all in there, so we'll be able to walk on the roof now. We're still continuing to put more, so we'll be able to walk in, you know what I'm saying, walk on it thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody and that way more than I can get up there because of the structure. It's not enough studs. So me and my brother-in-law, every day we're off, we go up there, we put the studs in, we continue to work on it as much as we can. But it's kind of hard when we all work, and we all work different schedules during the day. Some of us work nights, some of us work mornings, some of us work different days. Some of us have days off. When we have days off, we go over there and we try to do as much work as we can.
I'm just thinking, a full court press on a weekend, you could get a whole lot done if you bring like a few people in.
Yes.
I watched that
That's what
DIY
we're
show where they
working
do
on now
48
today.
hours and they build a house from the ground up.
Yeah.
All we want to do is get it covered and shingled.
Yeah.
It's just to get the people, we're trying very
just
much
three
so.
of us.
It's my 3 sons and him, and so his boss voluntarily said that he would come and help. So we're just trying to get some more people. But this weekend coming up, we plan to do a whole lot, like covering it around and do whatever else need to be done. And he's gonna start putting shingles to the side. So.
Commissioner Landis.
I'd like to recommend that we give them until the first meeting in June to get it sealed in and presentable. That's about 45 days or so. Given a couple rain days.
Brian?
It's cheaper than tearing a house down, and then we'd have to pay for that, and I doubt they'd have the money to cover that demolition, right?
We'd have to solicit it and it would go against the tax.
And then it would be another property that's not paying any property tax or anything like that. So I don't have a big problem giving them a little more time, not 120 days like Commissioner Sands said. But I think you don't have it sealed in and presentable in 45 days, it's done, period, end. And you understand that right now, right?
Commissioner Ryan?
I agree with everything that we've heard here. In 45 days, if it's not sealed in, if the roof's not on it and it's not watertight, I'll make the motion to tear it down. So get it closed in 45 days.
Okay.
Mark?
I would also like to visit with you guys as soon as possible when you have time, whether it be late afternoon or evening. There's things that you're gonna have to do, the OSB, and anything that's wood has to be covered with a vapor barrier, whether it be house wrap or whatever it is, Tyvek, or anything that you can use to keep the water
When we
off.
call
You have
you-
to do that before you actually put a product over it.
You're gonna answer your phone or return my call, because when I call you, nobody answers your
My
phone.
phone takes
Okay.
messages.
And then I leave.
Okay. Understood. You can discuss that at a later time. Do we have a motion? What is the will of the commission?
I think Phyllis said
What's that date? What's the
June
first meeting in
2nd.
June?
June 2nd.
June 2nd. June 2nd.
Commissioner Fitzgerald's got something.
Okay.
I make a motion that the structure at 119 East 11th must be watertight, roof completed, siding completed
All the side.
by June 2nd.
I'd second the motion.
You said you want all the sidings on too by May
I
the
want
2nd?
it presentable. I want windows in, siding up, roof completed by June 2nd. Is that possible or not? If it's not, say so now,
No,
and we're done.
I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no. We'll get it, we'll get there. I'm gonna try and
Understand
get
that-
as much people as I can to help.
At that time, June 2nd rolls around, it's not done,
Okay.
we're taking action.
All I can say is we can do as much as we can.
Understood.
That's all I can
Okay.
say.
I believe we have a comment.
Yeah.
Up to the podium, please. Come up here.
My mother's house burned down, and I had a decision to demolish her house. Fortunately, I was able to do that, But you got, what is this, living, what is that, the kids, I can't think of
New direction.
community direction. But I was able to get my mother taken care of. But I had to destroy her house because it caught a fire. She wasn't even in there. She didn't have the fun. But I was able to do it. So I see where they coming from. Because I had a mother. When her house burnt down, she wasn't even in there. But it cost money for them to just clean. It was unsafe.
Okay, and we understand that, and we appreciate your comment. We understand there's an emotional connection, there's a financial connection, there's a lot of things that are going on, and we understand that, and we're trying to go outside normal activity to give time to show that it can be done.
Yeah, but I'm saying that living whatever, if they don't have the fun, the son is crying, the mother crying, but those that place where Commissioner Jim Sands said, put those children to work. Help. I see this lady crying. My mother didn't have to cry because I was able to help her.
Right.
But her son is pleading and begging.
We understand that, and I understand that, and I appreciate your comments.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to extend to June 2nd a substantial completion of the outside, dried in, I think is what you call it.
The exterior surface is all covered with some kind of material to prevent
Okay.
moisture, and then covered with the appropriate siding.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed to the motion, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
I just want to say I appreciate what you did, and I thank you so much. And again, congratulations for all the new recipients this afternoon. Okay, and you have a blessed day.
Good luck to
And
you.
I'm going to make sure and try and do my endeavor best as
Okay.
much as I can and as far as I can go, okay?
Okay.
I believe
Thank you, thank you.
I believe you're going to get some help from the community.
I try a lot of places and a lot of people, and I don't know if they just try to be mean or what, but a lot of people just, I don't know who to ask. That's the main thing.
You've made it known, and you've made it known in the city commission, and there's enough volunteer organizations out there. If you leave a message on how you can be contacted, I believe there'll be people reaching out to you.
Where would I leave it at?
Why don't you leave it with Mark, and then take my number and give me a call. Okay?
It's on mute. I don't know what's, okay. Okay, next item for consideration is consideration of request for street closing for Junction City Merchant Revitalization Board sidewalk sale on Saturday, June 13.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to come before you tonight. Here tonight, at the request of the Merchant Revitalization Board, Junction City Merchant Revitalization Board requests a closure of streets for a sidewalk sale to be held in conjunction with the Junction City Arts Council and Juneteenth celebration, which will occur on June 13, 2015, from approximately 6:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. on June 13th. Streets requesting to be barricaded so the businesses will be able to set up sidewalk displays. They're also anticipating food vendors to be set up within these barricaded zones, and hopefully a bluegrass band will also be part of this event. The request is made to close the following streets from 6:30 to 5:30 on Saturday, June 13th, 100 block of West 7th Street, the 600 block of North Jefferson Street.
Barricades, of course, need to be placed at 6th and Jefferson, 7th and Jefferson, and 7th and Washington. I will tell you, no police support has been requested for this event. Obviously, there would be some cost associated with the placement of the barricades. So the Public Works budget would be impacted by this request. I have no questions. I think there is a member of the Merchant Revitalization Board available for questions if you care to ask any, or if you have any comments, sir, you'd like to make.
Go to the mic. Go to the mic.
Just have a flyer, what would, of course, work inside with the Arts Council. We're looking to actually in Juneteenth, so we're actually looking to make this a yearly event. Hopefully it's going to kind of grow. Just like the city manager who was talking about, and how the communities are working together. That's what the Merchant Board's trying to do, is we're actually trying to bring all these organizations and find kind of with Chamber of Commerce, trying to find a middle ground and bring all this together and try to do a lot more bigger things to bring more people into Junction City, because the problem is they're not. They're leaving, going and spending their money in other towns. So we got to find ways to try to get them to come here and make more attractions. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You say there is a budget impact
Well, there would,
to-
sir, obviously, and I think Greg could address that better than I can, but there's always any type of a issue with barricades having to be placed out. Staff from Public Works must do that, and then, of course, pick them up. Now, the merchants group would be responsible for actually putting them in place the morning of the event, but they would be put out there by city staff. So there is some cost along with that. Probably, I would guess, somewhere in the area, probably an hour's worth of work for a couple of staff members. So.
And they pay for a permit as part of this?
I don't believe, I'm not sure about that. Whether or not they needed a special event permit, they'd have to check with codes on that.
Seem like that's where you would recoup your cost.
Right.
And I have to see if we get a number from staff.
Codes and zoning would have to answer that question, and Dave's not here tonight. Dave, you're out. Is it?
He's
Dave?
hiding.
Would they need a special?
No, because the special events
Okay.
is structured primarily to cover activities that go on outside of commercial areas. So this is a commercial area.
Okay.
It takes just action from this board to allow sidewalk sales, that's by ordinance. We are going to revisit special events ordinances to try to address all eventualities, but there are concerns on insurance coverage and there is offsetting some of the fixed costs that we have. So we'll be coming to you with revision on that soon.
Okay.
But as written right now, no, there are no.
Well, if they're generating sales tax revenue through it, then I guess that covers that cost too, so.
And the park is minimal.
Right.
Would the barricades be placed out already on Friday?
What they would do, Mr.
That is
Dinklin.
part of our normal work day.
Right.
We're not talking.
That's correct.
I mean.
Not coming in on the weekend and all that.
Yeah. So it's.
And they'd pick them up Monday
more-
morning.
It's a little more cost neutral that way.
Correct, sir.
And just to add to it, also Juneteenth and the Arts Council have rented the park, Heritage Park, and so they paid for the use of the Heritage Park and the electrical outlets. So to some degree, we're recouping some of it.
I have no problem with this.
What is the will of the commission?
I move to approve the closure of streets for the Junction City Merchants Revitalization Board sidewalk sale.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Merchant Revitalization Board sidewalk sale on Saturday, June 13. Further discussion?
Nothing here.
None being, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Approved 5-0.
Only thing I would mention that maybe the Merchant Revitalization Board notifies the vendors in the area, like the bank, particularly with that drive-up, that this event's going to occur, so they can make arrangements on that, notify
We're
their,
actually trying to, what we're gonna do is, because of the bank being open, probably in that morning session, we're actually gonna do some kind of something so that people can still use your drive-through, and they can just turn around and go back into the parking lot down the alleyway.
Back through the alley.
You know, and so that still leaves that, so it don't hurt their business.
Good.
As long as we communicate with them.
Yeah, we're gonna have them sign, I guess we'll say some,
Okay.
to work with them, 'cause they're part of the, of course, the workers too, so we want to take care of everybody. That's the whole idea.
Okay. We ask that you complete that communication and let us know how that communication goes.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Okay. Next order of business. Status of the update, or a status update on the city water wastewater treatment improvement program.
Yes, Mayor and City Commission. If you recall, back in July of 2014, you asked staff to come back and report to you when we reached significant milestones on these 3 treatment plant projects. And we feel that we're going to be meeting one of those by the end of next week, which hopefully we'll have the plans for all 3 treatment plants at about a 90% phase. What that means is that we'll complete that review and then look to have the plans submitted into KDHE for permit approval. I've asked Don Lindman, from HDR Engineering. He's the senior project manager, to sort of update you a little bit more of some of the milestones of where we're coming on this project. As you'll recall, we're looking at having these projects out for bid and under construction this summer, and we'll be looking at about a year and a half on construction sequencing of all 3 of these plants. And with that, I'll have Don make a few comments, please.
There's no good place to put these, but.
Oh, I can think of a place to put it.
Usually that's them here for now and avoid that comment. Thank you, Greg. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, as Greg stated, one of the things we said was to come up and update you on critical milestones for the water treatment plant design and the wastewater treatment plant for the 2 wastewater treatment plants. What I set on the table there is our 90% documents and our plans for both the water plant and the 2 wastewater treatment plants, as well as the contracts and specifications for each of those. These are at the 90% stage. As Greg mentioned, we plan next week to sit down with the city to review those documents, get their comments. Once we've received those, we'll then incorporate those comments into the documents, and in the next 7 to 10 days following that, we will submit those to KDHE for their permitting review. While that's there, we'll be running a number of different things parallel to that in the next 45 to 60 days. I'll be working with Greg to bring, first of all, a resolution to the commission for submission of an application for what is typically referred to as SRF funding for these projects for construction. There are more specific names when you deal with the wastewater and water divisions where you submit these. It's a public water supply drinking loan fund, and then the wastewater construction loan fund, I believe, are the names of those. The resolution will simply say that the City Commission has passing a resolution to apply for the special funding for construction of these projects. And one of the things we have to do is, it's a simple 1-page resolution. Not the lending institutions, but KDHE has got an example of that. And so we will write it up specific for this project. We'll provide it to the city for Greg for city attorney review, and then we'll bring that in front of the commission. And that can be done as part of the regular agenda. We don't have to hold a special meeting for that. That's just part of the regular agenda. Were you wanting to ask a question?
I have a question, and, coming in halfway through the project here, but, so our funding will all be in place before we sign contracts, correct?
That's
We have to be from
That's correct.
basis law and budget law.
And then there'll be timing for that contracts for reimbursement. Typically, what is required is you'll have the contracts to get the low-cost funding, but you'll have to pay first and then request reimbursement
Correct.
from the funding agency for payment
And
for
we're
that
capable of
cost.
doing that with our reserves. My question is, of course, how long will it take for us to get this SRF money if approved?
As far as reimbursed, once you've paid something to the contractor?
Even approval of it.
Approval of the funding.
Oh, we have already been in contact with them. They're aware of it's coming, and we're preparing the applications for submittal. And one of the first things we're going to do is a resolution, and we can submit then what is Part A of the contract application. And that identifies the projects and what's going to be done for the work. Part B is environmental clearances, and then your ability to fund the projects and how you're going to fund those for reimbursement. Okay, and then once all those are approved, then they can sign off on that, and we can get the loan funds in place.
When does KDHE approve it? That's the question, I think.
Right.
They'll approve the application once we've submitted the final documents.
My
with it.
concern, of course, is that the city has to have all the money in place through bonded indebtedness or through loans like this
The ability to do that,
before we sign a contract.
right. And it's the commitment
law.
to do that.
Okay.
So the way the timing works, and we've done this with other cities, we're finishing up projects right now with the city of Salina, is you'll get an invoice from the contractor for work constructed. And then it'll go through the engineer for review. The engineer will approve it, recommend payment by the city. The city will then pay the contractor, and then we'll submit documents to KDHE for reimbursement of that invoice.
That's not an issue. I mean, the issue is our
Funds
funds
in
locked in.
We will have, what I'm contemplating is, it's not dissimilar to our highway. We had some
Right, I
state
understand.
revolving loan with our some of our highway, or street work, that we'll have a loan agreement in place with KDHE.
Right.
They're our lender,
That has to
in
be locked in
essence.
before we
Probably,
just
it's probably not
make motion.
100%. Is it 100%?
For the construction, yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Well, it's
That's what
100.
we're applying for.
Okay.
Great, yeah.
So those will be in place
The
prior.
loan, the obligation to advance the funds as we pay them, apparently, will be in place.
Okay.
Will be loan documents that they probably bonded on out, and
We can do we get the bill, pay and get reimbursement. I mean,
Right.
'cause we have to adequate funds in our reserve, in our account, so we can do that. Bottom line, at the end of the year, we have to be neutral, and so we don't break cash basis law.
well, we won't, because this is going to be similar to the.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure everybody
Transportation
understood that we have to
revolving
have locked in.
Here's a question I have. You got the plans about ready,
Correct.
but we haven't even gone out to bid. We don't even know what the true cost is going to be yet,
Correct.
but we're
They-
applying for funds.
They will look at it based on the construction estimates. We have a preliminary opinion of probable construction costs that we provide with the update, and that's what will be put into the loan applications.
Okay.
And then it will be adjusted for the final numbers based on the bids that come in.
Okay, that's the problem I was having with it, because how do we know
And
what
I
it's going to
think, I think that would.
KDHE
that'll-
knows what they're up against.
Right.
Yeah, and unless there was like a really dramatic difference between your estimates and what
Right.
the contract documents are, everything should be adjusted.
Well, and in most cases, I'm assuming, I've not worked with HCR before, but most engineering firms I work with, they are usually the high bid on their estimates, and the bids come in because I'm assuming they're very professional companies, and they do these projects all the time, and they have real costs in mind, and in most cases, usually the engineer firm is the high bid. So now we say we need X, but we're gonna come down X minus, and KDHE is totally cool with that, and so will the city be, of course.
And there are approval steps all along the way. So it sounds like the first resolution is just to authorize for an application.
Correct.
To get the loan funds. Then you'd have to approve the loan documents. Then you'd have to approve the contract. So there are lots of steps along the way
Okay.
where you can withhold your approval if something, there isn't something about it that you don't like.
The city is covered.
Yes.
You will not be expending any money until you've received bids and the loan documents are all in place for that. That is correct.
And
We
so
also have a
you.
contract, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You're not signing up to put any money out until you've put out your bids, received bids from the contractors, and you have loan agreements in place for the project. One thing that Greg pointed out was when we actually signed the contracts for the design for these projects, we also put language in there to allow the city to fund the full payment of that if they chose to do that. They've been paying us as we go, but there's an opportunity to take out money as part of that loan too, to cover the cost of the engineering. So that was included in the original contracts that we signed with you to have the ability to get loans for that money as well, should you elect to do that. So that was set up in the original part of the contract. Okay, our schedule right now, as Greg indicated, is submit for the permitting, have the permits reviewed. Once all permits are in place, then, and we've gotten approval for the funding and everything like that, we will go out for bid. Right now, that is anticipated that we would bid the 1st of July, providing everything goes as it was. We receive bids in the August and notice of award in the middle of August for construction to begin. That is a tentative schedule. It is dependent on KDHE permitting review as well as final loan documents for the SRF funding.
there any chance these SRF funds, there's any forgivable loan pieces in there?
There are no grants in what we're looking at right now.
No problem.
It's simply low-interest funding.
Okay. Do you have an idea what the interest rates are right now?
Off the top of my head, I do not. I know they're pretty low, and Cheryl would be able to tell you. She's working with the interest rates on those. I can't tell you right now.
And you're working with Jeff White on that. Are we working with, Cheryl probably knows,
Okay.
Columbia Capital.
Columbia Capital?
Well, the question is, you know, are they usually 30-year loans?
I believe they're 20-year loans, and 2.75 sticks in my head, but I don't want to say that and say that's it, but that's what's sticking in my head. I don't know right now, so please don't take me to the bank on that.
Literally.
Literally.
Really do.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'd be happy to provide everyone with those documents if you guys are tired and can't get to sleep at night.
Don't waste the money for me.
Yeah, me either.
I did have one final question on the plans themselves. You spoke for a minute ago about if we wanted to pay all the engineering costs up front. Is it cheaper to pay them up front or pay as you go per project?
Let me clarify that. We put the ability in there for the city to take a loan on the value of what you paid for the engineering funds. We are being paid as you go right now by the city, but you have the ability to take a loan out for that money as well if you wanted to then use your money for other projects that you paid for us, and that would free up the cash that you paid us to do other things.
To reimburse the city back for
Correct.
what we've expended at this point?
Correct.
Okay.
So it doesn't change the cost of the engineering services at all?
No, it does not.
It
Okay.
would replenish the money that the city took from
Got it.
funds.
Correct.
Thank you.
And then the question, of course, is, you're still gonna pay the same amount of dollars. It's,
Right.
do you spread it out over a period of years and have your cash for?
I didn't know if we were paying
present
more
uses?
over time
Right.
versus all at once.
Well, more over time in the sense that you're paying interest on that money, but is there something you need to use the funds for now that you would elect to do that?
But at 275 or you know, when you get into that,
Low rate.
the cost of money has then become a smaller factor.
Right.
Than the 10 and 12% we used to pay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. No takers, huh?
I'll be holding a raffle if anybody wants it.
The mayor ought to have them.
They're actually going on my desk when he's done.
Okay, let's move on then. Consideration and approval of contract award of a pump repair at the East Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Yes, Mayor and City Commissioners. This item before you is to essentially rebuild one of the raw sewage pumps over at the East Wastewater Plant. There's a total of 3 pumps there. 2 of them are used in cycle, 1 is left in reserve. We had some discussions with Veola Water regarding this particular pump when it was determined indeed that the need was there to basically rebuild or rehab this particular pump, as well as with HDR Engineering. And the consensus was to bring it before the City Commission and request essentially, and you have a copy of the proposal from JCI in your packet. Essentially, the items that you see in there is essentially to rebuild, I'm going to call it the internal part of this particular pump. These pumps are not planned as part of the Phase 1 improvements. However, there is new screening that will be at the headworks of the plant. That is causing a lot of, I guess I want to call it, the problems with these pumps, and I think in particular likely this one as well. I've asked Don to speak on this behalf on the technical aspect as well as Carrie Peterson regarding the operational aspect. We don't believe that indeed it was a operation and maintenance related issue. It's just really that this particular pump, which is, and I have to apologize, I thought it was 25 years old. It's actually only 15 years old. And I believe Commissioner Sands asked a question earlier, if we weren't to rebuild this pump, what would we be looking at anew? Don and I had conversed as far as on trying to get an answer for you. I believe we gave you a number around $25,000. Actually, Carrie Peterson tracked down this particular flight pump, and we're actually looking at, if we had a new unit, of around $34,000, so significantly more than what we had provided you. But our recommendation is to move forward with JCI in the rebuilding of this pump. I realize it would be a sole source particular pump because, again, it's rather unique in its situation, its piping, its hydraulic head, and flow characteristics as it's situated at the plant right now. And be able to bring this pump back into use so that we can continue to remain in compliance with our NPDES permit as well as compliance with KDHE. So with that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. I think on the technical end, I'm going to defer those to Don Lindman as well as to Carrie Peterson.
I appreciate the information you gave back, because when it said one pump of 3, and with them being 2,000 a year, I was thinking it would probably be best just do maintenance on all of them. But your response was there's a warning system on there, and the warning system is pretty good, so we don't need to do any preventative. We should be good with reactive maintenance.
Correct, and that's really what we're looking at here. That's really, it's reactive is what we're trying to go forward in this sense.
Is there any preventative that's done?
Yeah. This was brought up because the moisture sensor went off in the pump itself, and Carrie's group is working to change the oil in that motor, make sure it keeps working so that they can keep doing it, but they can't do that in perpetuity. So they need to go in and tear the pump apart. While they're in there, they're going to do preventive maintenance since they've already got the pump, and there's some additional costs in there for preventive maintenance while the pump is already pulled out and it's being under repair, to take care of some of those things like the electrical cables, the bearings, and the impellers and some other things. So that's the preventive part of it. These pumps typically can run 30 to 40 years. So by doing this, you've extended the life of the pump rather than going and buying a new one.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
And this is real time, needs to be done.
Correct.
How does that affect our permit?
Well, right now, we've got 2 pumps that are primarily online, one that is in standby. So right now, that standby pump, if you would say, is offline. Is that correct, Carrie? That's correct. And so you're running with 2 when indeed we've got high flows. The need is great as far as obviously to be able to run 2 of them. They run in series, Carrie?
They run in parallel. Parallel, okay. Sorry, I just clarified with Carrie. The pump we're talking about is still in service, and it's there for emergency use, but it's not something you want to run on a regular basis, so they're using the other 2 pumps on a regular basis, right? Okay.
It's flow-based, so one pump always runs. Second pump would run if you have a high flow. If you were to get another one of those 4-inch rains in an hour, enough infiltration in the city that you're getting close to the point where all 3 pumps would need. That's what KDHE bases what you have to have for redundancy. They found out you only had 2 out of 3 pumps and decided to live with it. I'm not careful.
How often have we had the orange rain?
It's called 100-year rain.
You said orange rain.
4-inch rain.
All 3 pumps had to run a couple years ago in August.
4-inch. 4-inch
Oh,
rain.
4-inch range. I thought you said orange range, and I thought you were talking about.
I thought he said orange.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the inflow and using it as the influent as orange, and that's what I heard was orange. Okay.
Ordinary rain in a very short period of time. There's enough inflow into the wastewater treatment system.
Okay.
That water, you have to be able to handle that much properly. If you don't pump it, guess where it goes?
Oh, yeah.
I'd move to approve the waiver for repair services and approve the contract for JCI Industries of Wichita, Kansas for the repairs of the pump at the East Wastewater Plant in the amount to not to exceed $12,228.14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the contract award of the pump repair East Wastewater Treatment Plant as described. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda will be consideration and approval of award of bid sanitary sewer cleaning program.
Yes, Mayor and City Commissioners, you have a rather lengthy report in your packet. I'm not going to really cover as far as much of the detail in it. I did want to note a couple of items, though. We provided on page 84 in the packet the detailed bid breakdown, and you'll see that the low bid, what we based it on when we solicited the bid proposals, was really on their first year bid, but we asked for a complete bid of the entire system because the intent of staff was to enter into a multi-year contract subject to budget allocation. So we would, if there are funds budgeted next year, say in 2016 for sewer cleaning, we would then subsequently come back to you and request the extension of that contract with the particular low bidder on this project. You'll note that we had a budgeted item that was really, I want to call it a staff guesstimate of trying to get a number out there on cleaning as far as systems. The unfortunate thing that Junction City has is we don't have a lot of real good data on the diameter, lengths, et cetera, of our entire sanitary system. We've got about 135 miles of pipe. They vary in size from 6 to 8 inches in diameter. Roughly about 85 to 90% of our system is probably that. We've got some larger pipes that are 12 to 15 inch diameter, and I believe we've got several that are 18, 21, and the largest we have is 24. And those larger pipes are generally the ones that you see that are closer to the treatment plants. So we don't have a lot of that dimension in the system. As part of this project, what staff is looking to have undertaken is essentially the entire system to be cleaned over a period of years. What we're looking to have the contractor do is focus on, we call it segment 1, which is the south east corner of the city. That portion is much older than several of the other segments in the community. It's vitrified clay. We do know, at least for the most part, the eastern half of the city is vitrified clay pipe. That particular product, we have, unfortunately, a lot of root intrusion in there. When we put this document together, there was not a lot of data that was out there of other communities. We found one community out in Missouri that had recently bid their project out. We're fortunate that indeed the individual there was the assistant city manager of Manhattan, and she came across a similar situation of what we had and had to go through the same kind of practice. As you'll see that we direct solicited 10 known sewer cleaning contractors within a, we want to call it as far as within our region. When we first put this out for bid in March, we didn't receive any bids. We thought it was rather unusual, but what we found is there's an awful lot of I&I, or inflow infiltration activity occurring in and around the Kansas City metro area as well as the city of St. Louis. And a lot of these contractors are very busy, basically doing work for a lot of those suburbs and suburban communities. What we're looking for staff-wise, as you'll see in the recommendation, is to award a contract for an amount not to exceed the budget allocation that the city has within the sewer operations portion of the city budget, and that's $140,000. We know that we've got roughly around 76 known problem areas that Public Works has been trying to routinely clean on a routine schedule, be it a 7-day, a 14, a 30-day, 60-day, 120-day type framework, and we gave you a copy of that. When you add up all of those segments, those total roughly around 29,000 feet as far as of a system that what we would like to do is have that contractor come in and clean that segment or those segments first, as well as the 21 lift stations that are in our system. We're looking at getting a benchmark to start from on cleaning the wet wells as well as these known problem areas. I'd like to point out that we had a conversation directly with the low bidder, that being Ace Pipe Cleaning, that if we were to cut back the project, would that have an impact on their unit price? And they indicated to us no, that should we dial down the project as we've indicated to you, from basically completing, I want to call it segment 1, which would be roughly around 141,000 feet. That number would be, as you see in the document, would be around a little over $300,000, and we're recommending only to do about 140,000 because that's all that we have budgeted. I'd like to also point out is we're moving forward with a technology, and we noted that on the report there. That is, we actually demoed the product last week. We're rather excited about it staff-wise. I had a chance to see it work firsthand about a month ago in Denver, Colorado. It is referred to as an acoustic inspection type means. It's rather new technology. It's been out there since 2012. It's basically called a rapid assessment tool. We're going to be using it over the next several weeks. I think it has the potential to save the city hundreds of thousands of dollars off of this bid. And what I mean by that is we used it last week in a demonstration pattern. Ray Ibere's staff is using it this week and next. But when we set that unit on top of 2 manholes, an upstream and downstream manhole, we're basically sending an acoustic sound down through the manhole. Think of it that distance between each manhole is about 500 feet. You see that our bid item in there is about $2 a foot. If we're able to determine indeed with a extreme high level of certainty that that sewer is clear, then there's no need to really move forward with in cleaning that particular reach of sewer. The way we believe staff on this particular program, we need to treat it is really moving in I want to call it a triage means, where what we're after is to get those sewers that really need to be cleaned, get them cleaned. We're also, as part of the package, we'll be asking them, once they clean it, to assess those segments, the manholes as well as the individual sewers, so that indeed we can take that information, use it at a later time to be able to do, I want to call it, other potential treatments as far as to better tighten that system or minimize root intrusion that's occurring. Getting back to that rapid assessment tool, we dropped that unit in on a receiving unit on one manhole and then collection on the other. We're able to grab a sensing tone, if you will, within roughly about 15 to 20 minutes. If we find indeed that that segment is clear on a scale 1 to 10, roughly anything that's greater than a 7 and above, there's no need essentially to be cleaning that reach of sewer at this time. The savings to the city is roughly $1,000 if you want to think of it that way, and we move on. Our intent is to try to isolate as many of these reaches as we can so that we can better spend our money on truly cleaning those reaches that we know need to be cleaned. And in our mind, there's literally probably tens of thousands of reaches of sanitary sewer that need to be cleaned, but likewise, there's several tens of thousands of reaches of sewer that likely don't need to be cleaned. And we want to be able to separate those out, work hand in hand with this contractor as far as on it. My understanding, actually, Ace Pipe Cleaning, they're one of a few handful of contractors that actually own 2 of these units. So they're on the cutting edge as well, and we're hoping that we likewise are doing that as well. So with that, I'd be happy to maybe answer any questions you might have on this recommendation.
Commissioner, I want you to know that we started talking about this winter, and we focused on doing this in-house, and nothing against the engineering firm, but I think we've had substantial savings by doing it in-house, and we can move forward with the project this, and we've had a lot of discussion about addressing the areas that you've heard about at the meetings in the last few meetings, as also baseline along with the rest of the town and get started on the develop a program. And I think the staff has done an extremely good job of defining a program that we can follow. And you know, again, this is maybe small in the beginning, but it's a start for us and move forward. And I think we learn as we go with it as well. And maybe address something that hasn't been addressed, but just because of a matter of time. And this city is not the only one that has done that. I mean, sewer lines in many cities are always forgotten until they're back in somebody's back in basement, and then they get noticed. But I'm liking the way the staff has taken this as far as an approach to move forward in a positive manner.
So with this ping system, with this ping system, we should be able to get more for a buck for that 140,000.
Well, what we're looking to do is, and I'm going to single out, you have a copy of the map, which page 87 in your packet, and I realize it's small, but think of that, there's 140,000 linear feet plus or minus in the southwest or southeast portion of the city. Our intent is to, through Public Works staff in-house over the next several weeks, is eliminate as many reaches as we can that are deemed not to be cleaned, or that we're going to go to the we've already got 29,000 linear feet that we're able to get them going. They're looking at starting, should this be approved, they're looking at starting on or about the second or third week in May. We feel that we can further, once they get done with this 29,000, we can further define where we want them to go next, until we exhaust the allocation that we have within the contract.
Greg, will the contractor, and I've never worked with ACE before, I worked with the other company that bid, do they provide door tags so the people that were working in the area have, or how do we coordinate with that so that people know that, you know, we're going to be cleaning there and things get shooken up at times, but hopefully not, but that way they're aware of problems and that they know that on Monday we're going to be cleaning the 800 block of South whatever, and that way the people know. I mean, they have
provided as far as door hangers.
Okay.
We did check. That was one of the items that we asked for them to provide as part of the specifications was 5 references, excuse me. We have contacted them, and they do have that means where they provide a standard door hanger to let the public know that we're going to be in your area cleaning as far as the reaches of sewer.
I think we want this program to be successful, and one of the successes is not having surprises at home.
Exactly. The communication is going to be very
Absolutely, most definitely, it's going to be key.
Is this in the sewer fund?
Yes.
We have $140,000 allocated this
Got
year for sewer cleaning.
We have 130 allocated specifically for sewer cleaning, and then another 10 for as far as maintenance on the lift stations. So what we're doing is we're looking to use those dollars combined. We feel we really need to get our arms truly around these lift stations. We've got limited staff that's been able to address those. It's been an ongoing issue, particularly with the laden grease. And so what we're looking to do is provide a benchmark for our staff as far as to move forward once we get those lift stations cleaned.
I would move to approve the award of bid for a contract of the cleaning of the city sanitary sewer cleaning program to Ace Pipe Cleaning of Kansas City, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $140,000 as presented.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the award of bid of contract cleaning for the city sanitary sewer cleaning program to Ace Pipe Cleaning, not to exceed $140,000. Is there any further discussion? Greg, I'm not familiar with the acoustic sewer inspection system. The only one that I'm familiar with is camera system, whereby they would give you a record of the final product, because they take a video of it and then provide that to the city, and then you have that record that you were talking about.
Right.
Does this program give you the opportunity to be able to build your database?
Correct. This is, I'm really excited about this tool. I've actually, what we're looking to do is, it is GPS based. So indeed, there will be I want to call it, there's like a microprocessor with the unit, We're able to download the data at the end of the day. We will be putting in IDs of the different manholes, so we can build on that in knowing what particular reaches of sewer are clean and not. It rates it on a scale 1 to 10. Generally, when you start getting below a 5, you should be looking at cleaning a particular reach of sewer. When you start getting at a tone of, say, 7 and above, it's indicating that you have basically no blockages within the system. The accuracy is very high. I believe when we truly start using the unit, which our intent is to start using it towards the end of this week as well as all of next week and hopefully the following week, we've got it on loan to be able to demo it. We're going to get some public information out on that because it does have a rather loud frequency that if you were just walking by it, you'd wonder what we were doing there. It's a very mobile unit. The two pieces of equipment weigh about 40 pounds combined. 2 staff, I'm hearing, could basically on a normal day be able to inspect anywhere between 4 and 10,000 linear feet of sanitary sewer. Add that by $2 a foot, there's an awful lot. Probably the most difficult part of this whole process will be us being able to open up those manholes on different segments that may have not been opened probably for years, and that's because we haven't had a sewer call out or it's not part of a routine program. But it is a very new technology. It's only been out since 2012. There is a handful of communities in the state of Kansas that are using it. Johnson County has used it rather extensively, a couple communities over near Kansas City. We'll probably be one of the few that's really taken advantage of it in this part of Kansas.
Who is responsible for the cleaning once they find a segment that needs to be cleaned?
We would pass that on to the contractor. What we're trying to look to do is, in this entire program, and we're going to be focusing in on segment 1 right now, is we're looking to find reaches of sewer that we can pull out of their contract. Reaches that we can minimize and try to reduce the, I want to call it reaches of sewer that truly need to be cleaned.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be responsible once a segment of
Sewer was identified that need to be
need
cleaned?
to be cleaned? Who physically is going to use equipment to clean that?
It would be the contractor.
Okay.
We're just looking to
We're not-
determine
we're
whether
not
indeed, right.
augmenting with Public Works?
No.
Sending a jet truck out and following these guys around?
No,
Okay.
no.
Greg, correct, and we've talked about this, I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure the commission understands as well. And part of this contract with ACE, we are going to be doing cameraing as needed.
Actually, the cameraing is part of the $1.95 a linear foot.
Okay.
Will we camera everything or only camera problem children?
I believe what we're going to want to do, and the reason, we're really going to want, I think, camera the areas that we ask them to clean. I think what we're really after is we want to pull out segments that really don't need to be cleaned.
With the
If we were to look at this 140-some linear feet, and I'm sure Ray and his utility staff, and I know they can because we've had some preliminary discussions already, is we need to go after those reaches of sewer that we can truly pull out that don't, number one, don't need to be cleaned. Therefore, we don't need to TV them either because we're not having issues. It's showing it's clear. And that's what we're really going to try to do with this particular technology.
Can you or Ray contact me with say a potential list of times next week or maybe some locations that I could pass on to the commission that you could see a demonstration of the machine? Because ultimately, I think the goal, Greg and I have talked, is to purchase such a machine and mid-20s, whatever.
Right.
Is to purchase it and, get a feel of it, and I can even put it on public if public wanted to see it, because it is new technology, and, it's technology that's used in every other industry, so I'm not concerned about it, but if you guys provide it to me, I can pass it on to both the commission and the public, just to, because I think this whole process needs to be a community process.
I agree. One of the things, as we mentioned, that public ed, and there's going to be a lot of public ed that we need to do with this program as well as a couple of others that Public Works is looking to start this coming year, is we recently found a couple of YouTube-type real small, I call it video clips. Our intent is to try to get one of those uploaded so people can see how does this unit work and how quickly you're able to assess that. I was rather surprised at how quick you can set it up, break it down, move on to the next location, and how quickly you were able to assess a 500-foot section of sewer, find indeed it's clear, and you look at our unit pricing, basically a savings of $1,000 you've pulled out of that. And the contractor, quite honestly, understands that as well. I don't believe they're honestly looking to go in there and clean sewers that are already cleaned. No.
Okay.
You wouldn't give somebody a hearing aid that had good hearing.
Basically, that's what it is. It's a acoustical sound. Think of it as a large, I'm going to say a large amplifier going off. That's truly what this unit sounds like. And it's basically echoing down into the manhole, echoing down into the sewer. The likelihood of somebody picking this up inside their home is very minimal because most homes, I'll say 99% of them have traps. You've got a trap that's got water in it. This acoustical sound will not travel through water. So what that will also pick up is it'll show us those reaches of sewers that we've got dips in, as well as blockages. The way it's picking up that blockage is it's not able to get through the roots or the laden grease. And that's how you're basically making that determination whether it's clear or blocked. Really impressive technology, but we'll get you those dates and times,
we can
general locations where we're at.
Even to the public itself, because again, I think one of the missions that you guys had addressed the staff this winter was to get a program.
I think we need to take care of our motion.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That was 20 minutes ago, I think. But
We're, evidently, discussion is over. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item is consideration and approval of an award of bid for a sanitation truck for the Department of Public Works.
Yes, Mayor and City Commissioners. What you have before you is, we'd like to term it as, this is truck number 2 of 4. As you recall, we came before you a year ago to replace one of the other, one of 4 sanitation trucks. What I wanted to clarify was I gave you a handout, it looks like this, on your desk this evening. That is in a large copy of page 91, which is the bid summary. The way I want you to understand this is, as the report indicated, we had 3 bidders that gave us various combinations of a chassis as well as a packer body to make up that truck. That's a very common practice in bidding and assemblage of sanitation trucks. And what we've done is we've highlighted, if you were to follow, and I'm just going to use an example, if you were to follow the first bid at the very top of that table, which is TCS, you'll see that they have a chassis listed and they meet all the criteria, bid criteria with respects to, for this particular unit regarding the chassis. However, when you go down to the packer body, okay, that they're proposing, they do not meet the minimum bid specifications. So therefore, staff is indicating that this particular chassis and packer body does not meet the bid specifications that we put out. The other thing that I'd like to note on this is if you go over to the far right side of that, you'll see that there are some that are deeming this, I want to call it not primarily on price, but they weight price pretty heavily. The intent on the trade-in is the city currently has 5 units within the fleet. We use predominantly 4 of those units. The routing pickup is generally heaviest on Thursday and Fridays. And the intent is to trade in 2 of the older units. These would be Viola units that have limited value. We've been working with Mrs. Beatty as far as on this particular item. The intent is, should this be awarded, is that we would move forward with a lease purchase similar to what the last unit was secured under, and we would package this together at a later date, and I believe her intentions is to bring this before the city commission in the near future, is a lease purchase program with a lending institution like what we saw a year ago. And I believe she's looking at packaging this together with, I believe, some of the fire department apparatus. I've asked Ray Ibarra to attend the meeting. Should you have any specific questions, there were 3 individuals in Public Works that primarily put this bid specification together, and that was Michael Downs, who is our sanitation foreman, Jeff Lewis, who is our lead mechanic, and Ray Ibarra. Before they put this together, we had demoed several units over the last, I want to say, 6 to 8 months, roughly, before we truly put this bid specification together. This unit would be a side load unit. It will replace one of the side load units within the fleet right now. There was a question regarding the tipper earlier unit that was replaced on a unit. This particular new unit will have that same kind of tip unit. It's a little sturdier. It's a much safer unit than what we had recently just replaced. So I'll try to answer, I guess I call it general questions. I think if there are specific questions, I'm going to defer those to Ray Ibarra.
In your written report, you had said that you wanted to get everything up to a 25-yard body. And this truck that you're recommending is a 24. Is there much difference between a 24 and a 25? That's
not really.
In this particular model, if you go one more size up, you have to get a different type of chassis, which we felt wasn't necessary to just that 1 cubic yard.
because that cubic yard would represent, what, a ton or 2 tons of trash, maybe?
Maybe a ton at the most. So we figured that being the transfer station was within 5 miles of any one of our routes, that 1 cubic yard wasn't going to make that much difference.
I believe that, and you'll see it in there as one of those items in the Packer body, that the hopper size was of a real concern to us, because as we're going around picking up as far as the trash, we're throwing it in there, and you don't want to be packing every time you're throwing in a single poly bin, per se, or a couple of poly bins.
I just had a question, Greg. On the very first one, the $166,998.
Right.
It meets all of the requirements in bid specifications. And it's $63,000 for a trade-in. Why aren't we going with that?
The chassis, Commissioner Mayor McAllister, the chassis meets, but the body doesn't. The Packer body doesn't. As you can see down below, Packer body misses in a bunch of certain areas, and is what we're compacting makes a difference in the ability to keep that piece of machinery running. We don't have those we figured with those type of metal standards that we need to have for that Packer body, that's why we went with the other company.
I think I'd like to add, and you probably haven't seen this, is one of the issues that we have found with these sanitation trucks is we have spent a tremendous amount of money rehabbing the boxes themselves, the Packer body boxes. We've literally re-welded some of these just to keep them in service. And so as we had the opportunity to put a bid specification together, we were really emphasizing certain points that we wanted to make sure that were minimums as far as of the equipment that eventually we would accept as far as or use within the community. And that happened to be one of them was really the basically as far as the construction of that Packer body itself. And this particular unit, unfortunately, did not meet that specification in many areas.
It stands to reason that a 70,000 PSI unit compared to a 56, the 70 is going to be more massive and more durable. Correct. I had a question on the slope, on the slope of the floor. Is that just to drain liquids out of it at the end of the day?
To help drain the liquids out of it. That way you don't have that stored up in there, and then it stays on that floor, and then, ultimately you start rusting.
Do you wash those once a week or something?
We try to wash them once a week. early in the first half of the week, since Thursdays and Fridays are our heaviest days.
Okay, yeah, that curiosity.
Commissioner Fitzgerald?
I just have one question. You spoke about the trade-in value. You were going to trade in two. And then whenever I look at the one that you've highlighted, the key equipment one, the trade-in's only 30,000, but yet some of the other ones are like 63,000. What's the difference in the trade-in values?
Basically, it's the dealerships, just like if you would buy a car, sometimes they give you a better trade-in value on the front end to make the sale, where some say, we're not going to take that loss for that used piece of vehicle, we're going to give you what it's worth. So each one are different. I mean, I can't say how they're going to get rid of that or how they're going to dispose of that piece of equipment that they get from us. But that's what you're basically working with is, think of it as kind of like a car dealer on a trade-in, you know. We want your business, so this is what we're going to do on the front end, and we'll worry about getting rid of it on the back end. So.
I'm just going to add, maybe, if I recall, when we traded in a unit last year, the unit that we traded in, I believe we got 15 to 20,000 for that unit, and it had tens of thousands of dollars of items that needed repairs. The two units that we're looking to get rid of have that similar type arrangements, be it from transmission to the Packer body boxes. There are, I don't know, we've got a laundry list that we basically have held back on and said, you know what, let's wait. If we're able to keep these things running and not have to put too much more money into them, we're better off. So I think it really is, what do they believe as far as that salvage value of those trucks are? And what we have found too is, I know you weren't on the commission when this occurred, we purchased a used unit, and we had some heartburn in purchasing that unit. Basically, by time you turn these units over and you've run them, I mean, we're running them 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and there's not much left of them by the time you're done. And that's essentially, we try to keep our units going. There is, if we were to continue with, as far as the two units we have, one in particular, yeah, we'd have to be putting in tens of thousands of dollars into it, and we've just held back. Be it from a mechanical aspect to tires and what have you.
What is the will of the commission?
I have one additional question. I think we had a discussion last year when we were looking at new trucks, and we asked about side loading and rear loading. And I believe the discussion was side loading, you had to go down both sides of the street, whereas the rear loader, you can actually go down the street one time. We actually want to get a side loader, being I understand a side tipper now.
Yes, Commissioner Sands. What we've got here, we've got limited staff. We've got 6 people in sanitation. Got over 7,000 customers. I'm able to, with two side loading units, I'm able to use one guy on that truck. And then on the rear load, we use the two personnel. The reason we have the rear load is because we've got dumpsters. We've got, probably about 125, 150 dumpsters out there. And so that's what the purpose of the rear loads. So we have 2 rear loads and then 2 side loads.
Okay. How's that work on time, though? Because I see those guys, when they got their rear loader, they clean both sides of the street at one time and they're gone. And I was curious, does it work out pretty decent, or do they save a lot of time when there's 2 of them on a truck like that versus the one pulling 100 feet, 200 feet, picking up a can, then getting back in the truck?
Yeah, I mean, that's, and like you said, on side load, you're only going to be able to do one side because we only have the car tipper on one side. You know, you can put one on the other side, but then again, you open the door, you got both doors open, you're going to blow trash all over.
Exactly.
But it works fairly well with on the back side there. You got the guy back there, he's throwing, putting it on the tipper and going. You can grab both. On the when you go down down the curb line, it works just as well because the guy goes out there, just steps out of the truck because it's low entry, bang, puts it on, hits it, drops it, and puts it away, and away it goes.
Okay, thank you.
I would move to approve the award of bid lease purchase for sanitation truck from Key Equipment, Kansas City, Kansas, for an amount not to exceed $203,124 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bid to Key Equipment. for a sanitation truck not to exceed $203,124. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Ayes 5-0.
Thank you.
Now we have consideration and approval of award of bid, Department of Public Works tires from Cross Midwest Tire Company.
Yes, Mayor and City Commissioners, you have before you what we're going to deem is one of many annual items that we're looking to solicit bids on an annual basis, which is basically as part of the supplies and materials of the Public Works operation. As noted in the report, we direct solicited 4 known tire suppliers. We've provided you a detailed summary of the tires that we're looking to acquire during the course of this year, or the balance of this year. It's on page 95 of the report. We also provided you comments that we had received back why a particular vendor or bidder did not bid on the ones that we had direct solicited. You have that in the report. Staff's recommendation is that you award the bid as far as to Cross Midwest Tire Company of Topeka, Kansas. I know that there was a question earlier, I believe, by one of the city commissioners through the city manager's office. I believe we tried to answer that, and it had to deal with a local vendor, T.O. Haas, Indeed. Unfortunately, we did not receive their bid in time. We received it a week after the bid was received, and it was clearly indicated in the bid documents. I don't have an answer why we didn't get it that day, but we surely followed up with them. It's not that we didn't have good service with them. We did. We will look to continue likely to use them for tire balancing because we don't have that equipment in-house. We are able to mount tires, though, as far as in-house, and we're looking to do quite a bit of the work in-house as best we can. So likewise, I've asked Ray to attend the meeting this evening if there's any specific questions regarding the Public Works purchase of tires for the fleet.
Was T.O. Haas's bid lower?
I believe it was slightly lower. I believe it was within $1,000 of this bid. But again, it was a competitive bid, sealed bid. We advertised it. We direct solicited them, and we didn't receive their bid until a week later. So we did not read it as far as a acceptable bid.
Okay. Any further questions?
It's too bad we only have one bid. That's what bothers me.
And the lack of timing was just with the vendor.
It may have been with the vendor. I mean, the only thing I could say is that we received their bid a week late. The other company passed on the bid, and the other indicated that they were too busy. Normally, we don't direct solicit, but we try to direct solicit so that we can generate bids. The bids were out there for in excess of 2 weeks. We advertise it in the Daily Union. We put it on the city's website. We try to get individuals to bid on our product that we have out there. The numbers that we received this year, I should note, and I don't believe it's in the report, but the cost of the tires that we are noted as far as in that itemized list, they're fairly consistent with the numbers that we had received in 2014. So there was not a lot of change as far as in cost per tire unit. And there is sufficient monies within the different funds for these tires. Probably the biggest user of those tires, as you know, is the sanitation fund. Those tires wear out very quickly.
Okay.
I too wish there had been more than one bid, but going back out for bids is not fair either. So I will move to approve the awarded bid for purchase of the city's annual fleet operations tires from Cross Midwest Tire, Topeka, Kansas, for an amount not to exceed $20,240.38 as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the award of bid purchase for the city's annual fleet operation tires from Cross Midwest Tire, an amount not to exceed $20,240.38. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of award of bid, Department of Public Works, UPM pothole patch material.
Yes, Mayor and City Commissioners, this is another item that we're looking at is standardized materials within the Public Works Department, and that is the annual purchase of pothole patch material. As noted in the report, we use roughly around 300 tons of material a year. We try to do I'm going to deem it a rather aggressive pothole patching program in order to continue to maintain our streets. We direct solicited these two vendors. We asked for a price on both delivery as well as pickup. Staff's recommendation is to have it delivered. If indeed, I guess we were pinched as far as time-wise or delivery, then we wanted that ability. It does not make sense cost-effectively for us to go and drive and pick up that material. We keep a limited quantity of this material on hand because of the nature of it. I guess I want to say we typically put down anywhere between 1 and 3 tons a week. The nature of the product, it's very sticky, has an awful lot of bituminous oils in it. You leave it sitting around for a long period of time, it becomes very ineffective. What we have found in using this particular product, be it UPM, it generally stays in the hole for a very long extended period of time, much better than, say, coal patch or other products that are out there. It's more expensive, but it stays in the hole.
I'm not Jim Sands. So what is UPM? what does that stand for?
I got to defer that to Ray Ibarra.
For unique paving materials. It's a special blend of material that they use. They make 4 different types. They make a spring mix, a winter mix, a fall mix, a summer mix.
Just chemicals in it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the oils that they use in it.
I was there for the bid opening, and the guy was talking about it. They have like an auditor who comes through and makes sure that they're making the mix correctly, and it's, yeah.
And
we've got a guarantee with it. The guarantee is, even if it's got water in the hole, if we put it in the material in, and it does start popping out, it will replace whatever popped out, whatever tonnage. There is a guarantee with it.
I guess for a plug for Ray, I really want to say that he's the one who convinced me that we should be using this product. This product is almost a third to half more expensive than, say, typical products that are out there. But boy, this stuff really works. It's almost like bubble gum that gets stuck on your car seat and you can't get it off. It is really good stuff, and we've had a lot of success with it. And unfortunately, yeah, we're using a lot of it, but we're trying to keep those streets maintained.
If it stays in the hole and you don't have to come back and repeat it twice a year, it's cheap.
Right, and I guess for the public as well, because we do get a lot of that, there are several methods that are out there, and because of the volume of potholes that we're dealing with, I noted that we put down 300 tons a year, 2,000 pounds in a ton. There's roughly about 13 pounds in a shovelful, which is a typical pothole. You can do the math. We do an awful lot of potholes. We have a truck out there at least a couple times a week, if not several days a week, patching potholes. If it's not raining or snowing, we're likely out there with a truck as far as getting potholes. And we've got 150 miles of streets to try to address as far as that kind of activity.
Is that logged where you fix them? Where you're fixing potholes so that you say, hey, boy, we're doing a lot in this street?
We do. We actually are using part of our asset management system. We use a work director. Wish we had a pay view program that went with it so we could see what's going on. We can't really track that, but we do track it work director wise. We can follow through on complaints and the like in using that, and we do use that for establishing work orders. So there's a mapping means where we literally can map out where indeed the pothole complaints that we receive throughout the week. and basically set our staff out to try to address it in that fashion. So, yeah, we try to be very aggressive on that. I guess what I'd also like to say is, you do not offend Public Works or even our staff letting us know where you find potholes. If you're not using the YourGov app, I strongly recommend that you get it on your iPhone, and letting us know where those are at, because we've got limited staff that are out and about finding those, and we want to get on them as soon as we know about them.
Being you said limited staff, is there, and I'm not putting anybody on the spot, but I understood there was an audit done by some of the shifts, and they turn it in once a week to the city. Do we get that at Public Works?
An audit on the,
I mean, from our law enforcement folks riding around town, I think they turn in.
we do, you might refer to, we do get a weekly report from the PD, which they will go around and they will identify potholes, streetlight outages, signage down. We use that data immensely. I commend Chief Brown on his staff getting that to us, because that does help our staff out tremendously. The street lighting is handled through engineering, those related issues.
Okay.
And when we get potholes or down signage, those are handled through Public Works. So a great team effort as far as in that. We do see that on a weekly basis. It's a great tool.
And I will say, I've tried the YourGov once or twice, got through, and then I was over by the courthouse, actually the extension office, and I took the picture, got ready to send it, but it just, and I tried it 3 or 4 times. I don't think you ever got that one, and I forgot about it.
It goes, I don't want to say it's perfect. It does go up and down. I've had it myself where if you're in a confined space area, like a building that has rather thick walls in it, such as City Hall here, it's not very effective. If indeed you're in a treed area and you can't get that signal carrying up, it does not pick up as well. But
Just text Ray, consider it done.
yeah,
What tax you?
that's
Ray
another
is
means.
on it. I
You
asked
could
him about
surely,
something,
right.
boom, done the next day.
Right. The old method, still calling on the phone. Our clerical staff are literally utilizing that means as far as to log the complaint.
Okay.
So
Raise
we
the
can
man.
track it.
Ray is the YourGov guy.
He
Really?
is it. Forget your go, call Ray.
Okay.
All right, I move to approve the award of purchase, bid for purchase of the city's annual UPM pothole patch material from APAC, Kansas Salina, for the amount not to exceed $40,290 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bid purchase of the city's UPM pothole patch material in the amount not to exceed $40,290.
Are we using the pickup price or the delivered price?
We're going to use the delivery.
Okay, sounds good.
We asked for them to give us both in case indeed we wanted to pick it up ourselves and they weren't able to get it to us in a timely fashion. We've not had that issue before, though.
Any further discussion?
None here.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 5-0. Next on the agenda will be consideration and approval of award of bid, Department of Public Works Oil and Fluids from Universal Lubricants.
Yes, Mayor and City Commissioners. Again, this is another item that we've standardized through our supplies and materials within the Department of Public Works, and it has to deal with all the oils and lubricants and fluids that are used in order to keep the fleet operational. We direct solicited several vendors on this, as well as advertised it in the Daily Union and the city's website. You have a detailed breakdown in the packet. It's on page 103. I'd like to stress that this is an amount not to exceed. We try to keep consistent with the manufacturer's recommendations on fluid changeouts. Again, probably the biggest users of these fluids are the sanitation trucks because of the nature of their continuous running throughout the week. And I should note that this particular bid document is compiled primarily by Jeff Lewis, the lead mechanic, with input from the different supervisors in Public Works.
And in the question I had stated, you said it is within the allotted.
What we're going to need to do is, if you recall, we came before you last budget and requested certain allocations for oils and fluids.
Exactly.
Those numbers were cut back for obvious reasons, I guess, maybe for us to stay within budget. But what we're likely going to end up doing is still be within budget, for example, within the street fund. What we're really watching is the parts repair or replacement in some of the other line items. The item that we really do not want to skimp on is the fluids and oils. I'm very concerned about not meeting the manufacturer's recommendations on oil changes and the like. So the dollar numbers that we have, if you were strictly to go with the commodity items and add those all up within the major funds, is roughly around $35,000. So the makeup difference of $14,000, we're going to make up amongst other funds, but we will not exceed as far as the particular fund budgets. But we definitely are feeling that this is a very critical item, is changing those fluids.
And this will carry us to the end of the fiscal year?
Correct. Right, this is a yearly allocation, and I should note that these quantities are actually being generated now from our Fleet Manager Plus program. If you recall, 3 years ago we told you that we were going to bring in a fleet program to be able to assess and manage our needs for the fleet, and these quantities are actually being generated from that program. It's actually a couple of reports that generate this.
Good.
I would move to approve the award of bid for purchase of the city's annual fleet operations fluids and oils from Universal Lubricants, Wichita, Kansas, for an amount not to exceed $49,663.76 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the award of bid of purchase of the city's annual fleet operation fluids from Universal Lubricants, not to exceed $49,663.76. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes 5-0.
Thank you.
Jeepers. Didn't know it was going to be that long. Next on the agenda is commissioner comments and committee reports. Commissioner Landis.
I have a few things. We have not met as a land bank here in a while, and hopefully Mr. Ura will have a reason for us to meet very soon. I'd like to recognize Greg McCaffrey and his leadership award that he received as being one of the top public works directors in the country. Greg, we greatly appreciate everything that you've done here. Your impact has been so positive for this community. We greatly appreciate what you and all your public works guys do for our city. I mean, compared to the way things were 4 years ago, it's night and day, and we appreciate everything you do. So now you have to buy your guys donuts tomorrow because I gave you kudos, right? So.
I already saw that earlier. I think somebody gave him an attaboy, and I was like, just cost me $12.
What time's the donuts?
$15.
Also, I'd like to recognize the Friends of Animals folks and the great pet fair that they held last weekend at the 4-H Center. It was really a lot of fun. I think Dr. Stenstrom said they did over 750 immunizations. I mean, it was just incredible. It was really a great event. I'd like to thank Mike for his great work he's done this past year. The mayor's job is the toughest job in town, and you handled yourself with tremendous ability throughout the year, and I have a ton of respect for you because I know how tough that job is. It's easy to want to run your mouth, but it's even harder to hold it back. So you're kind of like our Papa Bear, and we greatly appreciate everything you've done. So, and Mick, spread the love. If you've got too much on your plate, ask for help. If you're not sure what to do, there's others of us around might be able to help you out. So, you don't have to carry everything. So, we're here for you. Okay.
Thank you.
And you got a seasoned hand to your right there who's been here. I'm really impressed with Jim. I mean, somebody to go out and win 3 elections in a row, that's incredible. That says a lot for Jim. So,
Thank you.
and Phyllis, if you have any questions, talk to them.
Talk to them.
I know, it's all right here.
But, one of the best things about when I got on this commission 4 years ago was meeting Jim and then meeting Cecil. I never knew either of these guys, and they've meant a lot to me in the last 4 years. And Cecil and I have had quite a few heart-to-hearts after these meetings and during the week about a lot of different things. And we've gotten to be really, really close friends, and I greatly appreciate his friendship and knowledge, and he's become one of my best friends. And if he ever wants to have a job sharing commissioner program here, I don't have a problem with him filling in for me. So I'd like to thank all those folks who helped out with run the election a couple weeks ago. That takes a lot of work, and even though our turnout wasn't great, I think, you know, we look at springtime as rebirth and kind of a cleansing and you know, re-acknowledgement of things in our community. And I think we have a good crew here that's going to do a lot of good things for the city and kind of keep that ball rolling in a positive direction. So I'm very happy to and honored to be able to serve again. So thank you.
Commissioner Fitzgerald.
Went ahead and prepared a little note here to make sure I didn't get anything wrong. First of all, I'd just like to take the time here to, you know, basically tell everybody out there that took the time to go out and voted for me. I greatly appreciate it, as well as I had a fantastic group of folks on my campaign committee that stood behind me and helped me along the way. One of the things for me is I'm really very excited about being able to have this opportunity to serve as a city commissioner. I'm looking forward to working with the city commissioners here, as well as the leadership, the staff, and working for the citizens out there, because you all voted for me and I'm here to work for you. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Sands.
Couple things. I know you're going to cover a couple of them. There's some great activities coming up with the Antique Car Show Sunday at the Historical Society. So if you're one of the folks that can't find anything to do, come to the Historical Society. I believe it's free, and they'll have popcorn and some other stuff, because I know they asked me to operate the machine. The following weekend is a Kansas Sampler, which is something excellent. If you don't know everything about Kansas, but you're thinking about traveling around Kansas, the Kansas Sampler is the 2nd, and I believe it's the 3rd of May, and it's in Wamego. They have a great fest. You have to kind of look for where the Kansas Sampler tent is. We'll have folks from the CVB, the Historical Society, numerous folks from the city will be there talking about the great things that happen in our community. So go out and visit the festival. I understand there's a beer tent out there. I don't drink beer, but you know, there's a beer tent and it's near the festival. So go out and check it out. I know some of the things I found is Monument Rocks. I never knew about that before. And Medicine Lodge reenactment is this year. So from the CVB, they're doing a lot of good stuff. Plus the Cabela's Fishing Tournament, the national fishing tournament put on by Cabela's, is the 27th of May. So kind of look for those things there. That's a lot of folks coming to town. They'll be here for about 3 or 4 days. And I'm not sure exactly how they do the awards. I think the last time, one time they did it in the street. But look for more on that as the time gets near. We had a great farewell by a great city commissioner this evening and a great representative of the people. I want to continue to try to do the same, and I know in 2 years I'll depart doing the same thing, and I kind of look forward to it, but I want to make sure that I serve the people the best that I can, and I want to serve the people just like Commissioner Aska did. I want to welcome the new commissioners, Phyllis. Welcome to or Commissioner Fitzgerald, we'll use the full title. Welcome, and again, we're here for you. And to the mayor, or city manager, I want to get the youth council off the ground. I want to make that happen. I've talked to the folks. The ROTC, who is natural leadership, are out there. When I was at the ROTC ball, I mentioned it to a couple of them, and they do have a position to take in the city. That position needs to be heard. So I told them I'll be that position. We'll get this thing going. I don't necessarily have to be on it, but I will volunteer to be a part of that, because those youth have something to be heard, and I want to be there for them. So Youth Commission and anyone that's interested, it's the young folks, you have a voice. Bring it forward, and we want to make sure that it's done properly. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor McAllister, and congratulations to you.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jim,
Oh, thank you.
congratulations. It's good to have you here, Commissioner Fitzgerald.
Thank you.
And it's been fun being the mayor for the past year, and now I'm ready to relax. But I will continue to study. Talking about reports, committee reports, I went to the MPO meeting last Wednesday. The Bus, we don't talk about it very much, but it's experienced a significant increase in ridership in the first quarter of this year. And they've started their Wamego Regional Shuttle. They've been approved to purchase, and they've already ordered 7 new buses. 4 of those buses are going to be used for the fixed routes in Junction City. One of the buses will be used for the Wamego route, and the other 2 buses will replace existing buses now. And then immediately following MPO, we had the FERTA meeting, which is the Regional Transit Administration. And in that meeting, we learned that you can use CDBG funds to build the bus stops. And that this was brought up by Manhattan. And the matching funds, the 20% matching funds, can be raised by selling advertisement on the back of the benches in the bus stop. So once they get the fixed routes and once they decide where the permanent bus stops are going to be and where you want to have a bus shelter and a bench, we can probably get those installed at no cost to the taxpayer.
Is the bid cycle, would it be ready for this year's CDBG cycle, which would be?
They don't know the routes yet.
Yeah, without knowing the
Get
rest.
by September.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll be talking another 18 months, basically.
Yeah, we'd be looking at next year's.
Great.
But that's something to be thinking about for the future. And then the Flint Hills Regional Council. I already said it, but I was appointed to the nominating committee for officers. And I replaced Commissioner Aska on that board. Commissioner Aska, of course, was there with me. They are going to have a bylaws review committee for the bylaws for the regional council. They have one sitting member of the board on that council and 2 past members, one of them being Cecil Aska. So when he was talking about how important he felt regionalism is to Junction City, he's not just talking, he's walking the walk. So, and Gary Stith, the interim president for Flint Hills Regional Council, said that he was willing to come to our meetings, to a city commission meeting, and give regular updates on what's going on in the regional council. So we can get that plugged in and talk to him and schedule it.
Once a quarter would be great, or?
And that's what he does in Manhattan. He hits Manhattan once a quarter.
Perfect.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. I have just a couple of things. One thing that's good about sitting in this chair is everybody covers everything that went on in the community for the most part. And one of the things I wanted to mention was Greg's award, and I echo Commissioner Landis' accolades. That's a big award. That shows that we have dedicated staff. We have great city employees, and to get a national award like that, congratulations. Really appreciate that. I wanted to say that Cecil Aska is a good friend. I learned a lot from Cecil. I will continue to learn from Cecil. His integrity, his honesty, is above reproach, and I think that is a product of this board. I believe that everybody on this board, and I want to congratulate the incumbents for winning. Ms. Fitzgerald, we have a pretty good crew here. We've got a pretty good group. We're very diversified in different areas, so we can cover a lot of areas. We can bounce a lot of ideas off one another and be able to communicate. And that's going to be very important. So I'm very excited going forward. We have a great commission. I thank you now for electing me mayor. I may change my mind later, and I'll reserve that right. But, you know, I want to give everything that I have, that I possibly can for this community. My expertise in my field is going to be valuable. I appreciate the thought that I can sit in this chair and represent the city as well as our past mayor did, and he did an outstanding job. As far as committee goes, the CEO for the Chamber of Commerce, the job description's out. We have 3 or 4 folks that have sent in resumes, so that process is moving along. That committee that I'm on, the search committee, we're still working that. We're still reading resumes. We haven't done any interviews yet, but that's soon to come. There's a lot more I could say, but I know you all want to get out of here. And we had a lot of stuff on the agenda tonight. I think Greg's been on vacation, must have been for the last month. So thank you, everybody. And Tyler? Mr. Dinkle. I didn't know whether to say City Manager Dinkle.
You can call me whatever. Got a few things real quickly. Did have a question from the commissioners about a street tree issue here in town. Person had asked the commissioner about the trees in the right-of-way in front of their house. State statute is very explicit that those trees belong to the adjacent property owner. You know, and those are always the thing. You know, I found out over the years that people think that they're trees until they die, and then they become our trees, and that's not the way it works. It's a responsibility of that. And in case of utility lines, of course, Westar and DS&O handle those issues if there's conflicts. So just so you get those questions, you know, those are belong to the property owner, and I've actually been through a legal issue where that was debated, and they belong, and state statute is very explicit about it. There is the joint meeting with the county next week, as you know, and I'll make sure you get an invite to Commissioner Fitzgerald. It will be held at the lake in lieu of the regular quarterly or monthly meeting with the county commission because of the legislative fishing tournament. And I believe there's 20 to 25 legislation being there. Legislation goes back to session on Wednesday of next week. You heard the reports today. The budget shortfall is greater, and looking at hopefully we can protect everything we have as far as, you know, our concerns. We've lost all our demand transfers went away years ago, and we haven't got those back. The money we used to get from the state, which actually probably amount to about 6 mills, that through promises that the legislature had made to governments across Kansas, we have lost. And so that's always a situation that has gone away. Concern about always continuing, not this year's KDOT projects, but the future ones, and keeping them on track, because we have important things. And I encourage the public, you know, because I think the community is everything, including schools. The school issue is big for us. I mean, I know that at the legislative meeting a couple weeks ago, we talked about a loss of $500,000 to our school district. I know it's not our problem, but it's a problem for the community, and I suggest that. And visit with Dr. Witt about the military funds that they get that are being cut back also a little bit, because again, it's important to our community and what we provide, because again, a strong community is no stronger than all the pieces together. I think it's very important. We need to talk, probably, and I'll visit with Mayor McAllister, some talk about the need to take a look at the makeup of our EDC committee. You know, right now the EDC committee is appointed 3 by the city, 3 by the county, 1 by the chamber. Some interest in appointing some from the first Junction City First program. And then how do you restructure that? Do you cut back? Do you add, and everything else? And I think that needs to be talked about and looked at. And there's some push for it. And I've gotten feedback on both sides of increasing the committee by 2 or decreasing the city and the county by one to stay at 7 people. And we need to probably research that a little bit and all the repercussions by doing such and moving that forward. Of course, the new person will be on staff here shortly. There is a chamber quarterly breakfast next Tuesday morning, and that'll be out at the convention center. I believe that starts at 7:30. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. City Attorney Logan.
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay, thank you. Chief Brown.
Sir, I'd just like to remind the commission and the public about the Earth Day cleanup day this coming Saturday. Registration begins at 8 o'clock. We'll start fanning out to our respective locations at 8:30, rounding it up at about 11:30, where we'll serve food at the Spin City. Ed Lazier, this is his favorite time of year, so.
The impending weather, we are going, chance of rain, we're going.
Regardless, okay. So, hope to see a lot of volunteers down there. That makes a big difference on moving through these areas very quickly, so be great to have everybody out there.
Great.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Chief Royce? No, sir. Ed? I think that'll cover it for tonight. Again, I want to thank you.
You got that IT guy.
Caffrey.
Yeah, engineer.
I don't have anything further.
You sure? Thank you. You sure? I mean, we can add some more to you. I mean,
Always the month of May. It's
we
coming.
got time, Greg, we got time.
Talking roads in May, so.
Okay.
A lot of road
Jim,
projects.
do you have anything?
Nothing, sir.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.